Good morning. Welcome to One More Thing Before You Go Over the Teacup with Michael and Diane. This is a fantastic Sunday, and we hope you're having a wonderful day. We are your host. I'm Michael Hurst.
I'm Diane.
And we're here to have a cup of tea and talk about things. As you know, these conversations are casual on Sundays. We figure most of the time we like to reflect, to be grateful, and to have a little fun, and to talk about things that we really enjoy in life that help us feel a little bit better about life. And this morning we're going to talk about something near and dear to our hearts because it reminded us on Friday night that we missed our favorite date night guilty pleasure, making homemade pasta and watching Magnum P.I. We still made the pasta though, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. In fact, we got a new one that we really kind of enjoyed.
Yeah. It was
So
yummy.
somebody at CBS decided to cancel this popular show, Magnum P.I., and we wanted to talk about that today to get it off our chest and to tell you how you can have an opportunity to possibly save this brilliant piece of adventure drama comedy in the Hawaiian O'hana. So, what's your first impression, Diane? You a little mad?
Yes, I'm mad and sad and all that. And excuse me while I put on my pineapple scented lotion so I feel like I am connected to Hawaii in some way because
I've got my shirt on already.
I miss it so much. I know it probably seems silly to a lot of people that we talk about TV and and we're so, this is so important to us. But you know what? The world is heavy. The world is very heavy. And so we need something to lighten it up, and this is why we do this on Sundays, is just not talk about what's going on in the world. We are concerned about it. We do have conversations about it. I just want everybody to know we talk about the heaviness of the world all the time, sometimes too much. So Hawaii, yes, that's much
Hawaii
better.
takes us away. It's our favorite place. And
Yes.
actually, believe it or not, watching the original Hawaii Five-O and Magnum P.I., the one with Tom Selleck, is what got my love for Hawaii, my interest in going to Hawaii, sparked at a very young age, and I've had that
Yeah.
ever since. It's our
Yeah.
favorite place to go, isn't it?
Yeah, we love it.
Let me give you some quick background. The original Magnum P.I. ran from 1980 to 1988. It was created by Donald P. Bellisario and Glen A. Larson. The stars were Tom Selleck as Thomas Magnum, John Hillerman as Higgins, and Roger Mosley as TC, and Larry Menetti as Rick. TC is the helicopter flying pilot. Again, I told you I grew up with this. It was great. The log line for the original Magnum P.I. was The Adventures of a Hawaiian-based private investigator. And it just really kind of sparked my interest, like I said before, with Hawaii and everything about it.
Yeah.
The new Magnum P.I., the reboot, ran from 2018 to 2022. It had 76 episodes. It was created by Eric Guggenheim and Peter M. Lenkov. They just recently actually canceled this fantastic, brilliant display of entertainment in Ohana. I call them Ohana because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
They've got a Ohana family. We felt that they were part of our Ohana. We go back and
It's a great cast,
it
great
is.
writing. I mean, it's just so much fun, and they deal with so many of the social issues going on in the world that a lot of shows don't address. Well, they use actual veterans
They do.
in their episodes. Sometimes they have a lot of lines actually, and one guy started out as having, just kind of a part, and he became a part of the cast. He's great, and
Yeah, and that's what's really good about this one. Now, in the reboot, which stars Jay Hernandez as Magnum, Perdita Weeks as Higgins, which is a new twist, which is really kind of a nice new twist. Zachary
mhm.
Knighton as Rick. Stephen Hill's a helicopter flying TC, helicopter flying
Mhm.
pilot TC. The log line for this Magnum PI, the reboot, which I think is brilliant, is
Yes.
an ex-Navy SEAL that returns from Afghanistan and uses his military skills to become a private investigator in Hawaii. And it's
Hmm.
further enhanced by what Diane just said, TC and Rick being veterans who served alongside him, which was
Yeah.
really nice. And like you said, they've brought in more veterans. I should have gotten his name before we did all this
I know
because
he's
we
so good in it. He ends up playing the he's the helicopter mechanic that works
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
TC,
He's in a wheelchair,
and
and he's actually he's
he's
literally
yeah,
disabled. He's in a wheelchair. He is
yes,
a veteran, and he
he's
brings.
so good.
He is. He's really
He's so
good.
much fun to watch, and they've dealt with teen homelessness. They've dealt with
Real life
oh my
issues.
gosh, yes,
Real life
and so
issues.
many things that a lot of shows don't deal with, which I think is so ironic that CBS would keep other dramas. They're like, well, we want to go more dramas, is what we were hearing or reading. That
Yeah,
CBS wanted to keep all their dramas and really go, that route. Well, most of those don't deal with most world dramas like Magnum does.
yeah. I mean,
So
real
yeah,
life
it's
stuff.
also funny. You get a lot of you laugh, you cry while they're dealing with these real world issues. That's more than a lot of shows do.
Well, and,
So
and,
they're
and this
just not
cast,
making any sense.
yeah, and this cast works brilliantly together
Ugh.
to make that happen, so that we
Mhm.
live the journey each week instead of, this is just another show. We live it
Yeah.
each week. We experience it each week. We go with them on that journey, which is a lot of shows you really can't do that with. That's why we're really irritated that they canceled it. We'll get into that in a
But
little bit, but
yeah, because I think it's working. The
yes,
save Magnum PI
starting to work.
hashtag save Magnum PI is working.
And what's really nice about this also, and it also brings part about Ohana in Hawaii. They brought in some familiar faces from some people from like the Hawaii Five O series, which was
Yeah.
also a reboot, which we had watched for the whole entirety of the season. I watched
Mhm.
the original Hawaii Five O, but I liked this Hawaii Five O better.
Mhm.
Some political stuff from behind the scenes there got that one canceled, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
they brought over Amy Hill, who plays Kumu. She's kind of the mother figure,
Hmm.
I guess, of
She's
everybody.
awesome.
Everybody kind of goes to her to the
Awesome.
mother figure. She's a native Hawaiian, so she brings the culture into play, and they talk
Hmm.
about the culture of Hawaii and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
They brought other individuals from Hawaii Five also. The guys that ran the catering truck down on the beach,
Hmm.
and
And
things,
the medical examiner.
and the medical examiner. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
all from
I
Hawaii
can't remember
Five,
her
which is
name.
great.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
really
either,
good.
and I really feel bad that I didn't
But
bring those
she's so
names.
funny. She's very she knows her job and she's really good at it, but she
Yep.
can make a joke too. you know.
And then they brought in Tim Kang, who is a favorite of
Oh,
ours
love
from
him.
another show where he played a detective. It's the one where I say it's favorite, and I can't remember the name
It
of
must
the
have been
show
one
now.
you watched without me.
It's The Mentalist. And he played the detective on The
Oh,
Mentalist. And he was like, he played the same kind of a guy. He's just, no facial expression, right down to business.
yeah,
But he's brilliant in this
yeah.
episode. And you get a little more personality with him. And he plays Detective Gordon Katsumoto. And he's got like
Not just in an
history.
episode, not just in an
No,
episode,
he's,
but in the
he's, a,
show.
he's part of the
You
show.
right? Yeah, you
Um,
said episode.
And of course, the whole cast and crew that created a brilliant adventure each week with those familiar faces of recurring cast. There's a whole list of them that are
Hmm.
recurring that we've recognized from other shows that you see that come in as
Hmm.
guest episodes and so forth, which is pretty cool. Um, as a fan of the original show from 1980 to 1988, did you watch the original? I forgot to
Yes.
ask you
Well,
that. I
my
think you
mom never
did.
missed it. It was Tom Selleck. Are you kidding me?
And
I mean,
Tom Selleck loves the reboot too.
and then let me just say, okay, so my first job ever, I worked with mom. We lived in Estes Park, and so there was, it's a touristy mountain town and lots of shops, and so we worked in a couple
Yeah.
of those shops. And the woman that owned, no, not the woman that owned it, a shop across the way from the ones we worked in, she knew Tom Selleck. She was a friend of Tom Selleck's from way before Magnum. I don't know what she was doing there,
very
but
cool.
anyway, so mom was friends with her, and then she felt like she knew Tom Selleck through that, and it was
It's
just this whole thing.
2 degrees
Yeah.
to Tom Selleck.
Yes.
Kind
Yes.
of,
And it was
sort of.
like, and supposedly he came there to visit, and we weren't working that day or something. That's all I remember. It was a long time ago.
And if we could have
But
tweeted back then, you could have said, "Hey, you forgot to come back and see us."
right, my mom was always like, just bring him back.
Well, you mentioned this earlier, a little bit earlier, but I found that the reboot, being a fan of the original, I was a little apprehensive about the reboot, especially
Yeah.
with a woman playing Higgins, who I've grown
Yeah, it
to
was kind of.
love. I
I was
loved her.
unsure.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
I was unsure about it.
the first one was kind of without being chauvinistic, it was a boys' game. It was boys
Yeah.
out to play. Those kind of thing. And I think that bringing in Perdita, which is a very unusual name, but she plays this part brilliantly. She's a
She is a badass.
badass in this.
Oh my gosh.
It brought this to a next level, I think. And the fact that in this reboot, Magnum's an ex-SEAL, Navy SEAL, and his both of his cohorts, Rick and TC, they'd all been in the POW camp. They served in the military together. They were in a POW camp together. It kind of brought that closeness to that portion of Magnum. That means they've always called on each other. They've always had each other back. They had each other's back when they were in a POW camp and when they escaped the POW camp, and they bring that to the show. So,
Yeah.
no matter what happens, they've always got each other's back. That's Ohana.
Yeah.
They show what Ohana really is, family. Hawaiian for family is Ohana. So we really don't know what's going on at CBS, other than the fact some little fighting between CBS and Universal, I think. But somebody sat behind the desk and decided to chase the wild hare, and they canceled this Magnum P.I.
Well,
along with some of our favorites, United States of Val
obvious. Yeah.
and
Right.
Be Positive.
Yes.
They canceled those two. But we'll talk a little bit more stats in just a little while. Magnum was actually one of the most popular shows playing in the top 25.
Wasn't there a poll? USA did a poll or something about the shows that wanted to be saved.
There is, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit here. But yes, there's
Okay.
the USA poll, and during
And it
that
was
poll,
top.
it was the number one show to save this show.
I think it was tied with a show on ABC.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
running. I think in the top 25, it was running number 12, and shows that did get renewed, like SWAT, which I also watch. I'm a fan of SWAT.
Yeah, you do.
Being a
Yeah.
cop. SWAT was number 14. So Magnum was playing number 12 in the top 25. SWAT was number 14. Magnum did not get renewed. SWAT did get renewed. Not that I
Do you
wanted
think it
SWAT
had?
to be canceled either. I mean, I
No,
don't
of
want to put
course
that
not.
out there.
No. Don't do that because you will be really hard to live with if they cancel SWAT. I'm just saying. Um, but I'm not defending CBS on this at all because I'm very mad about it. But I suppose there's probably a lot more cost to the production of Magnum because it's in Hawaii.
Well,
Maybe
yeah, and I
that
think
had something to do with that.
something. I think Universal said something about the cost of things. They were
Not
requesting a
not
higher
like they don't
budget.
have not like they don't have enough money. I mean, come on.
But true.
But
But I think they were requesting more money, and whoever was sitting behind the desk said, "No, we're not going to do that." Let's talk about a little bit about the show for those people who do not or have not watched Magnum P.I. Magnum lives in a guest cottage at Robin's Nest. It's a beautiful property.
oh,
If you're going to stay
to
in
have
Hawaii,
this house.
yeah, you're going to live or stay in Hawaii, this is where you need to stay, Robin's Nest.
Yes.
Robin's Nest is owned by a millionaire, and the millionaire wrote books, and that's what made him a millionaire. And Magnum is purported to be the main character, the white knight of these books. So when Magnum came back and started opening his business as a PI, Robin put him up at Robin's Nest where he did the security for it. So he works as the security consultant to supplement his PI business. and the property is kind of managed by Juliet Higgins, which in the old show was a male individual, not
Yeah.
named Juliet, obviously, but Higgins. In this particular one, she's a beautiful and a commanding, disavowed MI6 agent who keeps Magnum in line.
Yeah.
She eventually becomes his business partner, which I think is an important part of how the family started intertwining with each other. Um,
It
he,
happens later on in later seasons,
yes,
like the
and
third season, I think.
I think so too. And then
Yeah.
the trusted buddies, his friends Rick and TC, the fellow POW survivors, and the chopper pilot TC. Um, they're both played by Rick. TC is played by Calvin Hill, and Orville Rick Wright is played by Knighton. They're both former door. He's a former door gunner, Marine forward. Let me try that in English.
Yeah, and what was his name again?
Rick. His name is
No.
Orville. His name on the show is Orville Wright, but they call him Rick.
Right.
His last name is Knighton.
What? It's Zachary Knighton.
Zachary Knighton. Yeah.
Okay.
He plays is the former Marine. Why can't I get that straight?
I don't know.
He's a former Marine door gunner who runs a nightclub, which we would love to visit when we go to Hawaii.
Yes.
Magnum frequently has run-ins with police detective Gordon Katsumoto, which we talked about, Tim Kang, and the two are more alike than either cares to admit. Again, just created a brilliant cast of individuals. The unofficial house mom and cultural curator is Robin's Nest is Kumu, who we talked about. She is also one of Magnum's biggest fans. So that's kind of a breakdown of the show. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to understand how family works in Hawaii. I think the cast members work together brilliantly. I know I use that word often, but
they're awesome. They really are, and you get to feel like you know them. And it's very sad that they're not.
I really don't miss the old Magnum.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I watched it, but I was younger, so I could take it or leave it, really. But and then I wasn't sure this was going to go, just because it was like, well, wow, Magnum has been off the air for decades. Like, really, you're going to redo that? But it is, in my mind, so much better. Now, it could be because I'm older. I don't know, but
it's better. Trust me.
It's
better.
An
individual in the '80s. I was a teenager, and a teenager up through.
You were a young adult.
I was a young adult. I was 18 to. It ran from 80 to 88, so I was a young adult.
You were in your 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a young adult, and so I can tell you that again, it got me interested in Hawaii. Got me loving Hawaii because of what they did and what they showed. But all respect to Tom Selleck and that cast.
Yeah, because Tom Selleck's great.
Exactly. All due respect to every one of those. This Magnum P.I. has got to be saved. Yeah. This Magnum P.I. is the best. Like I say, our guilty pleasure, Friday nights, pasta, homemade pasta, and Magnum P.I.
Which is weird. Pasta doesn't really go with Hawaii. Pasta's more Italian, but yeah,
it still works. I had fish. Yeah. I have fish with mine, so it's okay.
There you go. You have fish, so we have a little bit there.
Well, let's talk numbers. So before they got to cancel, it says if you look at the total audience numbers, back that up. If you look at the total audience numbers of the show, it's pretty consistent in the ratings. Of 21 CBS scripted shows, Magnum P.I. ranks 13 this year, with around 5 million viewers on the average watching the show. This puts it way above other CBS dramas like the renewed SWAT and CSI Vegas. And per Deadline, the magazine Deadline and the website Deadline, it makes it one of the top 25 most watched shows on network television, which again, it's like, why? Other than cost, I guess cost had a thing involved in it. Per Deadline, the cancellation comes after extensive discussions between CBS and Universal Television over how much the former was willing to pay the latter to license the show. So again, it goes back down to money.
It
So
always does.
it always does. Fellow Universal shows like The Equalizer and the FBI all got renewed, and they actually were lower performing on that 25, that 25 list, but it still got axed, and again because of cost. And maybe the cost, I know that when we go to Hawaii, the cost is, we
It's
pay
higher.
more. We pay more
Yeah.
for everything. So I
Yeah.
understand that, I guess. Um, and
But
real quick,
you can't not do it in Hawaii.
no, you cannot
It
do it in
just
Hawaii. That's the only way
that
it
wouldn't
works.
work. Yeah.
It
Right.
wouldn't be Magnum P.I. L.A.,
Right.
Magnum P.I.
No. Oh,
Phoenix.
let's not. Oh, please don't do that.
Uh,
Please, God.
yeah, he'd have
It
to
says it's
change his
115 degrees today. No,
he'd
I
have
don't
to
want to see
change
him in
his
Phoenix.
convertible Ferrari into a air conditioned Lincoln Continental.
No.
Well, and just to give credence, this year's cancellations really hit us hard for several of our other shows. As I said earlier, Be Positive. Let me see, United States of Al, which was great.
Mr. Mayor on NBC.
Mr. Mayor,
What are you thinking?
yeah, it's and on CW Legacies and so many more. I mean, the list is just too long to cancel. We've already talked a little bit about them in one of our other shows, but so we won't go more into detail. But
Yeah.
dadgummit, man.
I think more than half our shows were canceled.
Yeah, they're not listening to the public.
Yeah.
What they're doing is looking at the bottom dollar, I guess, and what they like.
Yeah.
But we're focused on Magnum P.I. because there's a huge fan base who are trying to get this show revived, and there is some hope. Did you ever think there was going to be some hope?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there was some hope.
Yeah.
In an interview in Newsweek on May 13, 2022, Jay Hernandez, who plays Magnum, who he had previously been very confident of the show's chances of being renewed because of where they placed in that top 25 and the viewership. Again, look at the numbers. The rest of the cast felt the same way. They were shocked when they got canceled, and we were too. The much anticipated culmination of the sexual tension that had been building between Magnum and Higgins was kind of like the finale. And I want more. Do you want more?
Yeah. Me too. Yes, absolutely.
They only kissed once, right?
I know. Well, they kissed once in her dream. She'd been having dreams about him.
Yeah, but in the ending, okay, spoiler. Fast forward, stop, pause, fast forward for a few minutes.
Right.
In the ending, it's a real live kiss. And they ended it with that. It's like, come on, man. So, it's kind of one of those.
I do agree. I was reading a bunch of tweets about it, and one person did bring up, we do want it back. Please bring it back. Don't cancel it. However, don't make the whole fifth season, when you do bring it back, all about that. Like, still include all the other storylines like you always do. Don't just go to the love story. Even though we've always been wanting the love story, don't just focus. So I'm hoping.
Don't focus on that. Keep the show like the way it is. Just add that as a bonus.
Right.
Well, in a TV Line interview, Hernandez continued, the numbers are great. It travels well internationally. So, yeah, I think we're in good shape. And that's what everybody thought. So everybody was shocked when it got canceled, including us fans.
Mm-hmm. Well, then subsequent tweets after they did get canceled, and he tweeted a few times. I know he was just being, a good sport. I'm sure that, obviously what is he going to do? Come out and tweet about how upset he is about it. But I really hope that his tweets to me seem like he was, maybe he's really okay with it. Maybe he doesn't want to do this anymore.
Well, and we'll show you some of those tweets in a second here.
Yeah, I hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I think everything that I've been reading on there, I mean, he and I have a lot in common. When I was following a lot of his conversations on Twitter, he and I could
You
get
align
along.
politically.
We align politically and morally and ethically in our service for fighting for veterans, fighting for the cops, fighting for firefighters, EMTs, frontline. We fall in line quite a bit. So, Jay, if you get a chance to listen to this, we should connect and you should come on the show. I would love to kind of discuss things with you.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about a poll. USA Today did a poll. CBS's Hawaiian crime-fighting saga Magnum P.I. and ABC's soapy drama A Million Little Things led USA Today's 25th annual Save Our Shows poll. Nearly 70,000 votes cast in the April survey revealed the two fourth-season dramas were the clear favorites among fans hoping for another run. This year's 24 endangered network TV series were featured in the poll. Almost half of the voters, 49%, want Magnum back. So
Yes.
CBS, Universal, NBC, because Universal and NBC, we'll talk about in a second, are trying to maybe bring that back. 49% of that people in that poll want Magnum back, and that's growing, by the way. The 14%, only 14% voted to cancel it. So obviously, it's a kind of a huge difference there. 17 opted to say goodbye. The remaining percentage of the voters didn't care either way. But there is good news on the horizon. And like I said that a second ago, according to TV series Finale, which I kind of follow I subscribe to them, and you should too if you enjoy watching TV. In a June 2nd article, Magnum P.I. Season 5, NBC and USA Network are in talks to save canceled CBS series Thomas Magnum and His Friends, and they may get another chance in having a fifth season. What do you think of that?
Yay! I'm very happy. Well, and then there's the hashtag Save Magnum P.I. Hashtag Save Magnum P.I. Did a petition on change.org as well that people can sign.
And I'll show that here in a few minutes.
And it's almost up. They had wanted 15,000 signatures. They're almost there.
Yeah, so we need to get to there. And it's interesting the way that USA Poll took it, or the way TV Line wrote. I'm sorry, TV Line said it was likely the most watched broadcast series to be canceled during the 2021-2022 season. So from their numbers and what they've brought about, it was the most watched season or most watched show of the season. They got canceled, and that's why everybody's upset. It's like
and that's why everybody. That's why this. If you're hearing about any show, that's why this one is, because it was the most watched of all the ones that got canceled. Well, even though the other ones that got canceled, upset us too.
Especially Mr. Mayor. It's like.
I mean, come on, Ted Danson. What is wrong with you?
United States of Val. United States of Val was really good. The cast worked great together.
And they did a lot about veterans as well. And the
PTSD and everything. They were dealing with PTSD
but also the Afghan
interpreters.
Thank you. I knew it started with an I.
Yeah, the dilemma of the interpreters that were left behind and how to get them here and what they were doing. They did a lot with that.
They focused on that. Yeah.
Hopefully that wasn't political. Hopefully. I wouldn't think that would be done politically for that reason, but because the show did well. Mm-hmm. It really did well. On another quick update, when I was doing research for this talk today, a new update from Deadline reports that the talks are still underway with NBC or USA Network to save the series. One scenario being considered would see the fifth season episodes running on NBC, while USA would air with the reruns. So that way we would take it off of CBS completely. There's also been talks of potentially moving the series to Paramount Plus streaming service, that's what they did with SEAL Team when they canceled SEAL Team, and the backlash was just like it is with Magnum, and they had no choice to bring it back and put it on Paramount Plus. And when they did that, which I jumped to that, it allowed for a broader opportunity for a more real experience with SEAL Team.
Yeah. Well, they can do a little more. Yeah, they can do a little more on the streaming platforms than they can on network.
It brought a load more fans to SEAL Team than it had when it was on the regular network because of that in particular. So even if they brought it to the Paramount Plus, I think that they should consider it because it would bring them more fans than what they have right now. The deal for season 5 of Magnum P.I. would need to be worked out by the end of the month, though, before the cast contracts expire. NBC Universal would need to extend the cast options if they wanted to go back and do the do the show past the deadline, they would have to extend their options, which
So this is
obviously
kind of a nail biter.
it is, because if you don't extend their contracts, they're free to go out and do other things,
Yep.
and which means if they get locked into another series, then they're going to
Yep.
get locked out of coming back in and do a Magnum. If they get locked into a movie or something
Yeah.
where they can't schedule it, then of course they can't replace the cast.
I was just going to say, there's no changes that can be made
No.
in the cast. You can't. You can't. There's no way.
So
So they need to
NBC,
work this out.
NBC Universal, um, what did I say? NBC and USA? No,
USA Network.
USA Network,
Yeah.
NBC and USA. If you're listening, um, please, please push those talks along. Bring this show back. Make sure that we get with the satisfaction of knowing that we got a fifth season. And these are kind of some of the things we were talking about earlier with some of the text that the
The
cast,
tweets. The
the
tweets.
the tweets, excuse me, and text. There's a text there from Tim Kang.
Okay.
The that they're putting up, and each one of
There
these.
was a billboard. There was a billboard in Times Square recently about saving Magnum P.I. And Perdita Weeks Higgins saw it and she tweeted about it and just was so overwhelmed with how much the fans are fighting for it.
Well, Zachary Knight, Zachary Knighton did the same thing. He posted it as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jay Hernandez posted some stuff too about Ohana and about the family of everything that's together, and Tim Kang did the same thing, and it is trending hashtag Save Magnum PI on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get involved in that and understand how to follow some of the things to sign, how to get on board with trying to help save this. The hashtag,
Change.org is probably the petition that's right
and
now
I think I've got that
the largest.
here. Um, yes, the Save Magnum PI or change.org, Save Magnum PI. You really need to go here to change.org. You can sign the petition there. I'm sure, I haven't checked it this morning, but I think they're, hopefully they've reached their 15,000 and above. We're
Yeah.
trying to get it way above that. And then, of course, NBC Universal is trending, and hashtag Save Magnum PI is trending. So, please jump on board with this so that we can absolutely 100% get.
It would help. I don't know if there is somewhere where they're already showing reruns of it somewhere. That would help to get people who haven't seen it yet
Well, they're
start
showing
watching the
reruns every
reruns.
Friday night still. They're
Oh,
running
well, yeah.
reruns of
They
Magnum
are running the reruns.
on Friday night, yeah.
Okay. We just haven't been watching the reruns.
No, so I mean, maybe they're running reruns. This might be a thing. Maybe they're running the reruns so that they're going to see what kind of response they're still getting, what kind of a
Yeah.
viewership they're still getting, and that's the,
So
the reason they're running reruns. So if
so
you have
watch,
a
watch, watch, watch,
yeah, if you
watch,
have it on your DVR and it's been sitting there, watch it, because they're
watch it.
tracking what's been downloaded on DVRs. They're tracking what's been downloaded, saved, and watched later. So if you've got it on your DVR and you haven't had a chance to watch it, watch it.
Yes.
Go to CBS, go to Paramount Plus, and go on there and catch up on the season. Binge it, do whatever you need to do to help save it, and
Yeah.
So that's all I got. I mean, that's all I've got to. Hope everybody can jump on board, take the opportunity to get involved, save this fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. If you have watch it again, so they understand and can track you watching it again.
Yep. I guess we should be watching it every Friday.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't realize they were. I didn't realize they were running the reruns. So
this is one more thing before you go, Diane. Is there anything else
yeah.
you want to say before we go?
Just wanted to stress again. The world is heavy. Let's have some fun stuff going on. Forget about stuff for a while because there's really a lot, and we try to just get through a day sometimes with what's going on in the world and in our country, and have an escape. It's good for your mental health. And this is a great thing. This Magnum PI, I'm sorry, is a great thing for your mental health. Just watch it.
Exactly. Aloha, aloha, aloha,
Aloha.
ohana. Ohana, Ohana.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for watching and listening to us. We really appreciate it. We will be back on Wednesdays with our normal broadcast. And Sundays, we're trying something new like we just did today. We're going to go live. Next Sunday, we're going to go live, whether it will be with us or whether it be with us and the kids. It's going to be live for Father's Day, and we know that everybody's out there going to be enjoying Father's Day. We'll start this early in the morning so that everybody can get a jump on the day. But we look forward to seeing you Wednesday at the regular episode, and next Sunday for our first ever live broadcast. So, thanks again.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go, a unique conversation about life. If you like our show and want to know more, check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. That's beforeyougopodcast.com. Tell your story, share your expertise, contribute to the blog, and subscribe to the newsletter. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.
And one more thing before you go. Have a nice day, have a nice week, and thanks for listening.
One More Thing Before You Go, a unique conversation about life podcast, is a creation of One More Thing Productions, established 2010, all rights reserved.